guys, it's Plum and welcome back to another video. This video is a very special video because this is a collaboration with Oshin Sims. I first found out about Oshin when I was looking for like growing together content online because I was looking for some inspiration and stuff like that, and then I saw that she was making a new legacy challenge for growing together, and I found out that she was Filipino. She made a Filipino family for the Growing Together series, and she opened up a bit about her own family because she is part Filipino. So when I thought of the idea of making a Bahay Kubo in The Sims, I immediately thought of her because she does make amazing Sims too. And I thought that if I were gonna make like a Filipino themed video, then I would definitely want another Filipino Simmer to team up with me just for more representation, because I do love our culture. I do love being Filipino. I'm proud of it, and I would definitely want another Filipino to collaborate with. If you're not familiar with the term Bahay Kubo, it's called Nipa Hut in English. It roughly means country house. I think there are still Bahay Kubos in the Philippines right now, but it's not as common anymore, and I just wanted to make something similar on The Sims. It is usually placed in provinces and rural areas, so it's usually made of bamboo and like thatched roofs and stuff like that. So it's all very natural, and there's usually like a chicken coop in the back, so I made sure to add that too. And this was placed in Henford and Bagley, but if you do want to place it anywhere else, that would definitely look good too. I think Oshin tried placing it on Sulani and it looked good too, so you're definitely not limited in terms of world. But I thought that for a Bahay Kubo to be like perfectly matching with its original theme, then maybe place it on Henford and Bagley because it really fits the world there. So for this collaboration, I made the house, and then Oshin made some Sims for this house. So this house actually can accommodate 5 people, so she made like 2 elders, 2 adults, and 1 kid, which is honestly super fitting to a Bahay Kubo because it's part of Filipino culture to actually live with your extended family. Like, I personally have never lived in a Bahay Kubo, but I currently live in a compound with the rest of my family. So I live with my immediate family, with my mom and dad, and then we live very close by to like my mom's mom and like my mom's titas and stuff like that. So yeah, we're a very tight-knit culture. Our families are very important to us. I know that's not like exclusive to Filipinos, but we do care a lot about our families, even our extended families. So we do want to stay close to them at all times. A fun fact about Bahay Kubos is they sometimes move the entire house to a new location, and that is where the Filipino value of bayanihan stemmed from, which is like a spirit of communal unity or effort to achieve an objective. So they literally carry the entire house and move it to another location, which is crazy to me, but they do gather like a bunch of people from the community, usually men, and they do like move it to another location. I don't know why they do that. I'm not like very adept at this because I don't think they do this anymore. I'm not sure, but at least they don't do it in my area, but they do that, and that's like amazing how people just do that for free for another person who needs it. So that's insane to me. So that's one of the many reasons why I'm in love with their culture. Like, they do crazy stuff like that, and it's just heartwarming, honestly. But I was researching a bit on why they did this and why it was made from like bamboo and stuff, and I saw that it was because the accessibility of the materials made it easier to rebuild when it was damaged by like a storm or earthquake. So it was really made to be sort of temporary to endure the climate and environment of the Philippines, especially in the earlier eras. So that's interesting. And I guess if you consider like the weight of these materials, like if they're made from thatched roofs and like bamboo materials that are not that heavy, I mean, imagine trying to carry a house made of stone. Like, you definitely would have problems with that. But because of the nature of these Bahay Kubos, they were able to like carry them around and move them to other like safer places, I guess. So yeah, I found that pretty smart. Now, talking about the build itself, I made sure to incorporate, of course, the theme of the Bahay Kubo still. So there's a lot of wood materials and stuff like that, but it's kind of like a modern Bahay Kubo, but not too modern. So there's like a TV, but it's kind of run down and maybe passed on to like generation after generation, because as I said, people usually stay in their family house, like their ancestral house, until they grow older, and then it just gets passed on. Like for this family, the child of the elders now has their own family, but they're still living under the same roof, and this is not something that's unusual in the Philippines. Like, I remember when I first heard about the American culture of like moving out as soon as you turn 18. That was honestly, it sounded weird to me. Like, I just couldn't comprehend it at the time. Like, the concept was so foreign to me. Like, why would you move out of your parents' house when you turn 18? Like, right now I'm 26 and I still live at my parents' house, and I couldn't imagine myself moving out, especially if I don't have my own family yet. Like, if you do have your own family, it's normal to like move out and stuff, but if you don't, then the default is usually to just like stay at your parents' place. But I know that it's like the opposite, especially in the States or maybe other parts of the world, to do that. Like, it's almost frowned upon if you live at your parents' place when you're at a certain age. So I don't know. So even though I don't necessarily live in a bahay kubo, we do still like practice some of the cultures that some of the rural areas practice, like living in your parents' house and just like staying close to your family at all times. And even the bayanihan, we definitely don't carry our house around, but you kind of feel it when you're in the Philippines. Like, everyone's just so close. Actually, not even when you're in the Philippines. Like, when you're in another country and you see a Filipino, you immediately feel a sort of closeness to them. Like, everyone just has this sense of community all around, and it's just a wonderful thing to experience, honestly, because you always feel like you're with your family wherever you are. Anyway, going back into the build, we're currently seeing the kitchen, and I'm kicking myself right now while I'm recording this voiceover because I can't believe I didn't add the big spoon and fork from Island Living in this kitchen, because it's definitely a quirk that almost all Filipino houses have. Like, I know that item was added as a nod to the Filipino culture because the description was even written in Filipino, so I don't know why a lot of Filipino houses have that, but it's definitely very prominent in like kitchens and dining rooms in the Philippines. So I would just really wanted to add that in. So I'm currently doing the master's bedroom. So I'm thinking that this is the bedroom of the elders, especially since they're elders, so they can't really like go upstairs as easily as the others. So I'm assuming this is their bedroom. And I added a fan in, and that was just really realistic for me because even now, like, we have like a lot of fans in our house, even though we don't really live in a bahay kubo, and our house is pretty modern. Like, there's air conditioning and stuff like that, but fans are very common in the Philippines, of course, because we live in a tropical country. So this country is very hot, so there's a lot of fans everywhere. And one thing that I've noticed, even though, like, as I've said like 100 times already in this video, I don't live in a bahay kubo, but I've visited one or two. But bahay kubos are surprisingly like very well ventilated. I guess it's because of the nature of the materials. Like, it's very light and airy. Like, they're usually very fresco, which is like a Filipino term for like fresh, I guess. But yeah, you don't usually need air conditioning in these houses because for some reason there's just so much air. I guess it's also because they're surrounded by so many plants and like trees and stuff, so I guess that's why. At this point of the build, I'm also adding in some windows, and usually windows in houses like these are pretty much open. Like, they don't have glass on them, they're just like shutters, if that makes sense. Like, I don't really actually know what they're called, but they're usually like that, and I guess it adds to the ventilation too. So that's pretty exciting. Now, moving on to the top part of the house, I skipped a bit of the speed build because I was just decorating and stuff and just polishing it a bit. But for the top part of the house, I'm imagining this is where the new family or like the younger generation, like the second and third generation, live. I didn't build a new room for the child necessarily because this is actually quite true for especially like Filipino houses like this. I personally experienced this. Like, I didn't get my own room until I was like 15 or so. There was just a divider between me and my parents' bed, and that was kind of like my little area, my little quote-unquote room. And that's just pretty much the compromise that you have to make when you kind of live with your parents and your parents' parents, is that you kind of have to make do with the space you're given. So I just wanted to keep that in here and try to like make things a bit realistic. I also opted for like a modern bed for the kid because I'm assuming like they bought that in modern times already, aside from the fact that I don't think we have enough like vintage looking child beds. So yeah, I think that little like limitation that I had with The Sims 4 obviously like kind of played along well with the story that I had in mind. Okay, now I'm off to roofing this build, and I honestly had a hard time roofing it just because the stairs were outside of the house, which is also quite common in houses in the Philippines, just because you don't really have enough space inside the house to put a staircase. So that's kind of one of the challenges that I had with this, but I think it turned out nicely. So I kind of just connected this like triangle roof on the second floor and just like connected that with the main part of the roof. So I don't know, I think it turned out pretty well considering that I had like so much problems with it, but yeah, I think it turned out nicely in the end. So I'm just wrapping up the video here. I'm just adding some little touches here and there, just adding a yard and like some landscaping, although I'm really bad at landscaping, so please bear with me on that. But yeah, before this video ends, again, I just really wanted to thank Ocean Sims for agreeing to do this collaboration with me. You have no idea how much this means to me. I'm so happy when she agreed, and she's so nice. Definitely go check out her channel if you haven't seen any of her videos yet. Her videos are so relaxing and so fun, so definitely check that out. Her video and her channel will be linked down below. And if you do want to get this house too, this is gonna be uploaded on the gallery, and the tray files will also be linked in the description, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Oh wait, before I end, I just wanted to like touch on this little area right here at the back. I added like a little grill and some like farming space for them, and of course the chicken coop that I mentioned earlier. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.